When it comes to accents and pronunciation in American English, some things are kind of easy to identify. Like, oh, I say the E sound instead of the I sound. So when I say seat, it sounds like I say sit, and things like that. Or, for instance, it could be that maybe I'm rolling my tongue on sounds like a thr and things like that, and Americans don't do that. But what I want to do is I want to show you four of the reasons why you may have an accent in American English that are different than the typical pieces of feedback that other teachers or other people may be telling you. Good morning, guys. Good evening. Good afternoon. Welcome to your daily American English pronunciation show, which is Wake Up American. Now, normally we are here between the hours of 7 to 8 a.m. New York, a little bit of a different time right now because I'll be a bit busy tomorrow morning. But I did want to make sure you can get your practice in. So watch this whenever you're able to. And yeah, in terms of who I am, hi, my name is Jeff. It rhymes with breath. That's one of the four keys to a natural sound in American English, including placement, pitch, breath. Trying to weaken your consonants in order to strengthen your vowels. What's up to David, who I saw just a couple minutes ago in our group coaching. But let's take a look at our four key things that we want to be considering in American English pronunciation that maybe we're doing a little bit differently and it's giving us an accent. The first one is placement.
Breakthrough, breakthrough,
Okay, and this actually refers to something I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. I mentioned about rolled R's, like and things like that. A lot of Americans are not very good at rolling R's, and the reason for that is because of placement. We're projecting sounds very low. American English is projecting from a position that is closer to our diaphragm and our lungs because there's lots of airflow and things like that. We're not projecting a lot of sounds from the top of the throat, mouth area. But a lot of times, in order to really roll your tongue or have that kind of like break through, you can kind of hear it again.
breakthrough, breakthrough,
You can hear that on the through versus through. Americans in general aren't doing that because they're projecting from a lower spot. So if you find yourself rolling your R's or having a lot of friction with your consonant sounds, that can be an immediate sign that your placement is coming from a place that's closer to your lips. That makes rolling an R much easier to do. If you keep your projection down, it's going to make it harder because my R sound doesn't sound like it sounds like it's a lower position, which is going to impact the sound a little bit. Let's take a look at another thing that we want to pay attention to that maybe is giving you an accent when you speak in American
and
English.
your phrases and sentences, right? And your phrases and sentences, right?
So, one of the things that we see a lot in American English is there's a need to access a lot of lower pitches, like kind of like talking like this, which is good. And I think we're doing that here. The problem is that once we've arrived at these lower pitches, we're kind of just using like the same pitch over and over again, which can make things sound what we would call flat, just using the same pitch
And
repeatedly.
your phrases and sentences, right? And your phrases and sentences, right?
So you say like in your phrases and sentences, in your phrases and sentences. That part. Versus if I wanted to make that maybe a little bit more dynamic pitch wise, maybe I would say like in your phrases and sentences, right? In your phrases and sentences, right? So he has a couple different thought groups here.
And your phrases and sentences, right?
So it's basically that first thought group in your phrases, the second thought group in your sentences. Maybe instead of having them both be at about the same pitch, have one be a little higher and second one lower, like in your phrases and sentences, or like in your phrases and sentences. Like just having something that is just adding some pitch contrast. That is a big component of speech. I do just want to give a quick shout out to I should have mentioned it earlier. Thanks to Levi for sending us these audio files. They were asking for some pronunciation feedback, asking why do they sound French. And these are potentially some of the reasons that could be giving them an accent when they speak in American English. Let's move on to our third potential issue that may be causing your accent to not be doing what you would expect people in North America to be doing.
Some people are asking me why I'm vegan. Some people are asking me why I'm vegan.
This is I don't know what the technical term for this. What I personally call it is I call it bobbing. Bobbing is that sense of like when you're in the water and you just kind of keep going like this motion. Notice what's happening again with the pitches.
Some people are asking me why I'm vegan. Some people are asking me why I'm vegan.
So we end up with this kind of motion. Some people are asking me why I'm vegan. Do you see? I just keep going up and then down in a kind of predictable patterns. This tends to happen when we access different pitches, but the same pitches over and over again. Maybe like a range of like two that we just kind of keep alternating between. This also tends to happen when our thought groups are very short. Some people keep asking me why I'm vegan. It's like just a lot of very short thought groups. But if we made our thought groups a little bit longer, like if I said, some people keep asking me why I'm vegan, now I just have two thought groups instead of like four or five. And so that can give me a little bit more runway and incorporate a wider range of pitches. So that way I avoid that bobbing sense of motion. Yeah, things like that. So kind of watching out for that sort of movement. One final thing to take a look at.
There's no other reasons. There's no other reasons.
One of the things that I repeatedly tell my students in our especially our group coaching program is that just because a sound ends doesn't mean that the breath ends in American English. Like you can hear it, for instance, even if I just do a vowel sound, like if I just say ah, do you see how the breath extends? Ah, I don't just say ah, or for instance, like oh. So it's not just like oh, it's oh, oh. So we really need this breath to kind of keep flowing even after the sound finishes. And if we don't, that's kind of a characteristic of lots of other languages where as soon as the sound ends, the breath ends. And that's kind of what I'm getting here.
There's no other reasons. There's no other reasons.
It's like there is no, like it's just cut, cut, cut. There is no. Even like at the end of reasons, and then as soon as that z sound finishes, the breath kind of dies. Versus like there is no other reasons. It's like trying to incorporate a little bit more breath into the things we say. Just because the sound ends doesn't mean the breath ends. So we want to try to keep that airflow going. Now, we talked about a lot of concepts today, again, like placement, pitch stuff. These are concepts that, as you're studying them, you may be like, wait, I need to work on some of my actual vowel sounds. Maybe I confuse words like sit and seat or lock and luck or like choose and shoes, things like that. If you're finding individual vowel sounds and consonant sounds to be a little bit difficult, I encourage you to take a look at our video description as well as our comments. These streams for Wake Up American are helped to be made possible by Elsa, which is an app that you can download for free and get access to a pronunciation test for free and do practice exercises for free to help you get closer to your pronunciation goals. So if you're having trouble with those smaller aspects of pronunciation, like individual consonant sounds and vowel sounds, I think also could be very helpful. That's the whole reason why I was happy that they wanted to partner. You may find these more advanced things like placement and pitch stuff and stress patterns and sentences maybe also struggles a bit more with, but for those little tiny aspects of pronunciation that can build up very quickly, I think that you can find it to be a very useful tool. So I do hope that you, if you are interested, take advantage of this opportunity to get some free access to stuff. But regardless, hey, thanks for hanging out with me. There's a lot of pronunciation resources out there, so the fact that you spent some time here is greatly appreciated. Once more, my name is Jeff. We're Rhymes with Breath. It's 1 to 4 keys in National American English. I will see you guys later. I hope you guys have a good day, have a good night, and a good afternoon.